Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? My name is feezo, and I am bringing you another video. So some of you may know this, some of you may not, but I'm somewhat of a self-proclaimed master at finding music gear for very cheap prices. Some people have said I'm the affordable instrument specialist. Some have said I'm the bargain boy. They've said that before. But lucky for you, today I'm going to let you in on my secrets to being a musician on a budget. First things first, I got to give you a little rundown of some of the stuff in the studio so that you know I mean business. My drum set here was about $100. It was basically garbage when I got it, and then I just fixed it up. The microphones I used to record the drums are about $200 in total, and it's like 8 microphones. 22-inch Zildjian K Heavy Ride. These usually are like $300, $400, but I got it for $130. Old Yamaha keyboard. These usually sell for around $70 to $90. Got it for $15 at Goodwill. Ludwig brand Glockenspiel. I got it for like $4, $5 or something at Goodwill. $20. This one was gifted. This one I found in a garage. I got this for my birthday when I was like 14 or 15. I got this one for Christmas when I was like 11. And my grandpa gave me this bass guitar like 3 or 4-ish years ago. This chair was like $10 at Savers. My desk is a complete mess. Don't look at it. I actually garbage picked this off the side of the road. Somebody was throwing it away, so I snagged it up, cleaned it, and put it in here. You get the idea. Pretty much the only thing to pay full price for is small stuff like cables and tuners and shakers and other little stuff like that. So there are a few fundamental things that you have to understand as a musician on a budget. The first thing is you have to be okay with having used gear. For many people, this isn't really a problem, but I figured I would mention it because some people are like, oh, I only want new stuff. I don't want anything that anybody's, touched before. If that's you, you gotta get past that. You gotta grow up, okay? You also have to be okay with using stuff that is not name brand. You're not going to be snagging any Fenders or Gibsons or Neumanns or anything like that right off the bat, so you got to be okay with using stuff that might be a little bit subpar. However, I will show you how to combat that a little bit later. Another thing you got to understand about getting used gear is that anytime you buy a piece of used gear, you are taking a little bit of a gamble. That's just part of the deal here. Anytime you buy something that somebody's already used, there's a chance that it could crap out on you in like a week. There's a chance certain little things might not work right. It's just what tends to happen when you use a piece of gear over time. That being said, no reward ever comes without a little risk. You might buy something and it's totally not good, but on the other side of the coin, it might be really, really great. And the last thing you have to understand here is that you just have to be patient. Sometimes there might not be anything good out there for months and months and months at a time. But if you're looking out and you got your eyes open, you're eventually going to come across some really good stuff for really, really cheap. So now that we got the basics out of the way, the first tip I'm going to give is that you have to know where to look. The most obvious place is going to be resale shops. So this is going to be like Goodwill or Savers or Thrift Smart or whatever the heck else you got near you. This is kind of like your first tier of places to look for music gear. Honestly, you're not going to find that much music gear. Goodwills, I think, are like shipping off most of the good stuff to be sold on their online stores now. So if you find something in a Goodwill these days, then props to you. But a lot of times you can find different electronics. So like cassette players, CD players, speakers, headphones, sometimes little furniture, like I said, my chair and desks and stuff like that. A little side note, a little asterisk for this one is pawn shops. I've actually never been to a pawn shop in my entire life, I don't think, but they will sometimes have guitars and other instruments there. And in my personal opinion, the best place to find stuff is going to be Facebook Marketplace. Marketplace is one of the best places to look because people are willing to let stuff go. A lot of people just want stuff gone, they want it out of their house, so they're willing to sell it for a lot cheaper. A great example of this is pianos. It seems like everybody's got a piano in their house, nobody wants it there, but also nobody wants to move it. So you can find pianos on Facebook Marketplace for free, but they'll always say as long as you can move it yourself. So if you need a piano and you've got a couple buddies in a pickup truck or you want to rent a U-Haul or something, go for it. Facebook is also great because you can kind of haggle a little bit. If somebody lists something for 200, you can be like, hey, what about 170? And they'll be like, what about 190? And you'll be like, what about 180? And they'll be like, all right, 180 is fine. And boom, just like that, you got an extra $20 off. Don't be afraid to do this because a lot of people actually are willing to compromise. Unless they specifically say this is the lowest price they'll sell it for, go ahead and just throw an offer out there, Another thing that's really nice about Facebook, I've never done it before, but you can actually like trade with other people on there too. People will sometimes post guitars or other instruments and say that they're actually looking for a trade. And you never know, something that you barely use could be a total treasure to somebody else. Facebook is also nice because it gets very specific. You can look for the exact thing that you're looking for where there's a search bar. I can just go in there, type in Ludwig super light snare, and find a couple listings. Whereas with resale shops, you go in there and you have no idea what you might find, which can sometimes be fun, but if you're looking for a specific thing, Facebook's the way to go. You're pretty much always going to find some great prices on there if you don't mind a little adventure. I've gotten a few things from people that are right down the street from me, and I've gotten a few things that I gotta travel a little farther for. With every piece of gear that you acquire, you'll have a story to go along with it, which is just the best. Nobody wants to walk into somebody's studio and be like, hey, that's a really cool guitar, what's the story on that? And their response is, oh, I don't know, I just got it from Guitar Center. I want somebody to ask about my guitar, and my answer to be, oh yeah, dude, I had to skydive into the Amazon rainforest with nothing but an AK-47 and the clothes on my back, fight off a family of crocodiles, climb inside an ancient temple, avoid all the booby traps, grab the guitar, run back out, get airlifted back out by a helicopter without a scratch on me. And then of course I gotta throw in a couple honorable mention places to look. You can go to Craigslist. I feel like Craigslist is just kind of synonymous with people getting like kidnapped and murdered over like a couch or something, but it is a viable option. The Goodwill online store is kind of like an auction thing, so we'll put eBay into this group too. And then Reverb, of course, is a good place to shop. Reverb is a little bit similar to Facebook Marketplace, but they have only music gear and the prices are generally a little bit higher, but you can find pretty much anything you're looking for on there, whether it's something new or whether it's something super rare and unique and niche or whatever. But if you are one of those people who just kind of refuses to buy used gear, don't fear, because I do have some tips for you too. The first thing that I would always recommend, this is the most important thing, is be patient again and wait for deals. Guitar Center, Sweetwater, whatever else, like Musician's Friend or something, they all generally have sales for different times of the year, different holidays and stuff like that. Black Friday, Christmas, Labor Day, 4th of July sales, all that stuff. This is the best time to buy stuff new that you shouldn't really buy used. For example, storage like hard drives and SD cards and stuff like that, always buy them around Black Friday because they're like sometimes half price, and other little stuff too like cables, adapters, you know, extra headphones. Holiday deals are always the best time to buy that kind of stuff. Another massive piece of advice, know the prices of things. This is pretty huge. The last thing, and I mean the absolute last thing that you want to do, is to get screwed on a deal. If you get screwed on a deal, that just defeats like the whole purpose of this video. It might happen to you once or twice in your lifetime, but we want to do everything we can to prevent it from happening. And one of the best ways to do that is to just know the prices of things. If you don't know the prices, you have no idea if you're getting a good deal or not. You got to do a little research. And I've personally found that for a lot of older, more rare, more vintage gear, it can be kind of tough to get an idea for what the price of something should be. With newer stuff, you can look it up and it'll show you right away. But for older stuff, it's going to take a little bit more than just a surface level Google search. I would recommend you go to eBay, look up whatever piece of gear you're trying to buy, and then see like old listings for what that thing sold for. Try to get as current as you can, and then you can kind of get a little bit of an idea for what they might sell for. And there's also forums and other stuff like that. Just do a little digging and you'll be able to at least find like a ballpark estimate on the thing you're looking for. Also, a really big thing is that the used market fluctuates a lot. Let's say a famous musician talks about a specific synthesizer that they use. That synthesizer, which sold for maybe $100 a month before, is now selling for $400, $500 on the used market. Literally just because this famous musician talked about it, so now there's a much higher demand, so it sells for way more. But don't just research prices though. Also research the actual product that you're going to buy. If there's something you want to buy, look up as many reviews and sound tests and product videos for it as you can, so you can get as much information before you just go ahead and drop the cash on that thing. I always do this with any sort of like keyboards or cymbals or anything like that. I'll just look up the product name and then sound test so I can hear exactly how it sounds before I go ahead and buy it. Another really good reason to thoroughly research all the products you're going to buy is so that you can spot any sort of fakes or anything fishy or whatever out there. I've noticed this happens a lot with guitars. People will try to tell you that this guitar is an authentic Fender, it's made in Japan or made wherever, but then I'll look really closely and I'll see minor details that tell me that it's either a fake or it's had parts swapped out or it's mislabeled as something else. So research thoroughly, make sure you study up on the differences between real and fake stuff, especially when it comes to guitars. This is big with guitar stuff. So another big secret here to being a musician on a budget, you have to become a little bit of a handyman. Like I said, you're always taking a risk when you buy used gear. There might be certain things that are a little bit wonky, and you got to have the confidence and the know-how to be able to go in there and fix up certain things and make it sound nice again. And there may come a day where you're scrolling through Facebook Marketplace and you see something that you really wanted for a long time, but one of the keyboard keys is broken off, or that guitar doesn't make any sound when you plug it in, that amplifier is making a weird noise anytime you play something out of it. If you learn how to do some repairs like this, you can buy messed up gear for a lot cheaper and then just fix it up and you have something that's basically brand new. And honestly, some repairs can be extremely simple. But a lot of people are just too lazy to do them, or they just are too afraid to like mess with their gear, which that's totally understandable. I was that way for a while too. I was like, I don't want to touch it because I'm going to totally ruin it if I, adjust the action or, mess with the truss rod or anything like that. But that's how you figure this stuff out. You get in there, you get your hands dirty, you mess around, fiddle around, till eventually you end up kind of knowing what you're doing a little bit. And there's also plenty of different videos out there on YouTube about little instrument maintenance and restoration and stuff like that. This is how you're able to actually use really cheap stuff and make it nice, make it sound good, make it look good, and make it work well for you. Just small little things can go such a long way. Upgrading your guitars, new pickups or knobs, new bridge on there, whatever it might be. Same thing with drums, putting better hardware on there, putting snare wires, really any instrument you can do stuff like this. And this just opens up a whole huge can of worms of customizing your gear and making it specifically the way that you want it. And eventually, if this kind of stuff becomes a passion for you, you can even make your own gear, your own guitar pedals or guitars or whatever you want to do. You can take it as far as your imagination lets you. And the final, arguably most important tip here for being a musician on a budget is there's just a crime going on outside, is to always take good care of the gear that you have. Listen, if you're watching this video, you're probably like me. You don't have a million bajillion dollars to be spending on music gear. I wish I did, but I don't. So we cannot afford, literally not afford, to be treating our instruments like garbage. We can't be being mean to these things. You just really gotta treasure all of your gear and just be proud of it, you gotta treat it like you're proud of it. Just keep up with your regular maintenance stuff, guitar setups and cleaning and dusting and tuning and all that jazz. Keep all your instruments looking nice and playing nice. If you take good care of your stuff and keep it in good condition, it's gonna last you probably a lifetime. It's gonna last you a long time, at least. So yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it, my dudes and dudettes, on all my tips for how to be a musician on a budget. I had to reveal all my little secrets so you guys can be master budget musicians as well. Make wise financial decisions, be smart about the stuff that you're buying, don't be going crazy or anything. And if you follow the tips in this video, your wallet's gonna thank you, your future self is gonna thank you, your wife is going to thank you, and I'm going to thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Social media and all the other links and everything down in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.